Alleluia, 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 alleluia. I wait for the Lord, my soul waits for His word. Alleluia, 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 alleluia.
The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Glory to you, O Lord. After he had fed the people, Jesus made the disciples get into a boat and precede him to the other side, while he dismissed the crowds. After doing so, he went up on the mountain by himself to pray. When it was evening, he was there alone. Meanwhile, the boat, already a few miles offshore, was being tossed about by the waves, for the wind was against it. During the fourth watch of the night, he came toward them, walking on the sea. When the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were terrified. "It's a ghost," they said, and they cried out in fear. At once Jesus spoke to them. "Take courage, it is I. Do not be afraid." Peter said to him in reply, "Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you on the water." He said, "Come." Peter got out of the boat and began to walk on the water toward Jesus. But when he saw how strong the wind was, he became frightened, and beginning to sink, he cried out, "Lord, save me." Immediately, Jesus stretched out his hand and caught Peter, and said to him, "O you of little faith, why did you doubt?" After they got into the boat, the wind died down. Those who were in the boat did him homage, saying, "Truly, you are the Son of God." The Gospel of the Lord.
It is I, do not be afraid, are the words of Jesus to these disciples and Peter. And these words of Jesus remind me of my first experience of coming to America. Way back in 2005, in August. I remember very well, I had longed to come here and try to convince my bishop till there was that small opportunity that opened. And my bishop told me, "We have this program. If you wish, you could." And it was all excitement. And I told all my friends, preparations were made. I went for my visa, and somebody deceived me that to get the visa as a priest, you must recite the creed by heart. It was a thing I was doing 3 times a day so that I don't make a mistake in case I'm asked by the consulate to recite that, and ended up that I was not even asked. The question was, "Why do you want to go to America?" And of course, as a priest, I told them, say, "Okay, come for your visa tomorrow at 2 o'clock. It was as easy as that. And I had friends with whom we celebrated, and then the following day we left, coming to the airport, and that is where the problem started. The fears, the worries, everything came on me. I remember a priest friend who was taking me to the airport, and we were there at a certain time quietly, not talking to each other, and time was going and we were getting closer to the airport. I told him, "You man, why did I make this decision? I feel so scared and afraid. I don't know where I'm going. I've never been to America before. I've never been in this long flight before. Why have I taken all this risk?" At that time, if he was with me, I would have changed my mind. And I felt so bad and so disgusted. But I remember his words that made me give in was, "You men, do not be afraid, don't fear. You have not been there before yet. I advise that you still go. If you find it difficult, well, you can even come back after 1 week." And I came to America with that fear and all that. More still, as I was coming, I had 2 things in my pocket. The telephone number of the parish that I would be going to work, and that was Summers Point, St. Joseph, down the shore. I didn't know what it's all about, and the name of the pastor. And the second thing I had was the $20 that my brother gave me in the evening. It was in the evening that we realized I had no money. And I said, "You man, it seems they need dollars there. What are we going to do?" And he ran around, got the $20, and he gave me. And these are the 2 things I guided so jealously. I knew if I lost the telephone number, I was gone. And my $20 was to help me make the telephone call. And for me, that was life. And then the struggle in the airport. And I kept checking if the $20 was there. And I made sure I put them in 2 different pockets. And I kept checking. And more still, when I got at Philadelphia airport, I became even more scared. People were walking, I see many exits, I didn't know where to go. And I didn't know who this pastor was, where he was, till I saw somebody in pair of shorts, seated, and with my name, placard, big thing. When I saw my name, that was heaven. I said, at last, I'm here. And I can get back to this man and get back safely. But still, I was afraid. I arrived on Saturday. On Friday, Saturday, this man tells me, "You have mass tomorrow in the evening and 2 on Sundays." I said, "I have not been introduced into all these things. How do I go about it?" So it was like hell. But these words helped me a lot. And I said, "Well, God be with me. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm here. And I'm among your people. You are my direction. I don't know what to do, but help me as a priest to make sure I function." That was my prayer. And from time to time, when I get to these words of Jesus, "Do not be afraid," it makes me recall that, and I get that fulfillment that it works. And that is, again, the words of Jesus today. In the readings today, especially the first one and the gospel, these words are coming to us. They all point to the God who is close to us, the God who reveals himself to us and invites us to listen to him and also to walk with him. It is in this, "Do not be afraid," that he gives us this comfort. In the first reading, we hear of this man of God, Prophet Elijah, who had suffered all kinds of abuse and what have you in his work, because he was supposed to be the voice of God to his people, and the message which was so contradicting to the people at that time, to the king, and to the people living there, to the point that even the King Ahab is scaring him with death. including the wife of this man called Jezebel, who were opposed to his message that is coming from God and was contradicting their lifestyle, and they're already planning to kill him. And this makes him so afraid, so fearful, and is discouraged. Say, why all this suffering? And he wishes that God should take his life. He wishes that he's dead, and is completely discouraged and giving up. But we hear of God again, who is after him and commanding him to go up to the mountain, Mount Horeb, and there he will meet God, expecting that this will come through the violent wind, the earthquake, as was the time at that time. But nothing. God comes and whispers in this unexpected moment, in an unexpected way, in that tiny little ways, and whisper that he comes to this man of God, and he listens to him. And the end of it all is, in that way, peace was returned to Prophet Elijah. And in the gospel, again, we hear of these disciples experiencing the storm of their life, and Jesus was there to calm them, to calm the storm, and also to restore peace to them. It is in this open boat, in this sea full of storms, that they find Jesus. And hear his words that he tells them. Courage, it is I. Do not be afraid. And likewise, Peter, the doubting one, discovers this in a special way through his walking on the water, when he asks Jesus and says, if it is you, command that I come to you. And Jesus tells him, say, come. And is able to walk on the water. It is only when he's scared by other forces that again he begins sinking, and Jesus blames them and him for that little faith. So like Elijah, Peter, and other disciples, or like me, at times we find ourselves in this kind of life, surrounded by the storms of chaos that at times threaten us so much, and the storms that cannot easily go away. And these storms at times are part of our life, and we cannot avoid them. We experience them in different ways, depending on the different storms one has. And at times they make us so confused and so afraid, like Prophet Elijah and even the disciples themselves, who are discouraged. In the storms of our chaos, we need to turn to God through Jesus. The Jesus who is Lord of the storm, and all the evil forces that threaten us in our own spiritual journeys and even in our own struggles. It is only in and through Jesus Christ that these storms can be overcome. And it is through these that peace can be restored to our lives when we get back and get attached to him as the Lord of the storm. Jesus walks over them and invites us, like Peter, to come to him. And he tells us, courage, do not be afraid. It is I. And we need that faith, like, again, Peter. Faith strong enough to accept, to walk with Jesus. Faith strong enough to be with Jesus. And in this way, he will truly calm the storms of our lives and bring us back to his peace, and also bring this peace to us in our spiritual struggles and our inner cycles. And that is what we need. No storm is so heavy that cannot be overpowered by Jesus. No storm is so strong for us with Jesus that we cannot overcome and manage. He is. the Lord of the storm. He wants us to look to him and turn to him with faith, trusting in his power, with faith, trusting in his miracle, with faith, trusting in being with him. Through that way, we overcome these storms. May we therefore continue to have that courage to trust in God and walk to Jesus and with him who is the Lord of the storm and the forces of all our storms that we have. Do not be afraid. Take courage. It is I, says the Lord. The Lord be with you.